Well, good morning, everybody. We're reading through 2 Samuel 22, 23, and Psalm 57 today. You know that it was Saul that established the kingship, right? He was the first king. He established the king was the Lord who gave him the laws of a king, which he was supposed to read morning and night, which I don't think he did. But he established the kingship. But it was David who established the kingdom. Under Saul, Israel still struggled. It was surrounded by enemies, and he was only starting really to come into his own. And I think his son Jonathan had more victory in his tiny finger than his father had in his entire being. And there was insecurities there, as we know, when the women were singing these songs of triumph, crediting Saul with so much, and then David so much more than Saul. But David, he came in and he silenced the enemies. He actually brought Israel into a state of peace. He became a man of violence, even though he was a peaceful man, a man who abhorred violence. He became a man of violence, a man with a lot of blood on his hands, to establish that kingdom at peace with its neighbors. David was taken by Yahweh as just a shepherd boy, just the youngest of many sons who had the responsibility of looking after the shepherds. And he was anointed and raised up to be this king that would establish the kingdom of Israel. And David never forgot that he did none of this in his own power. As we read today, and as we read the psalm, we see that David never for one moment thought that it was him, that he was doing all of this. He understood that this was Yahweh. He had been anointed to do these things, but it was Yahweh that was accomplishing it through David. One of the lines that really stood out for me, he said it was by Yahweh that he was able to charge in the battle and leap over walls. That really just kind of took my breath away as I sat there and just drank that in. It was by Yahweh that he was able to charge into battle and leap over walls. So the miracles that happened, the leaping over walls, the overcoming the enemy that was just too great, David gave full credit to Yahweh. His ability to fight, to strategize, to overcome stronger foes, he credited all of that to Yahweh. And at no point did David ever take any credit for himself, but always gave all the glory to Yahweh. David didn't have what we have. David didn't have the revelation that we had, but he had an open heart. He had a heart that was open to all possibilities. We see that right from Goliath forward, that David was not afraid to take on things that were larger than himself, because he knew who Yahweh was to him, and he knew who he was to Yahweh, and he knew that he could do all things, everything, because of Yahweh. It wasn't just a mantra. It wasn't just a belief. It wasn't something that he just wrote on his wall and looked at it and admired it. It wasn't something that he read in scriptures and said, oh, isn't that beautiful? It is something that he walked in constantly. And that is how David was able to establish the kingdom of Israel, because it was Father's will that that kingdom be established. And David made it a matter of his heart. It was his desire to do this. And we have so much more than he does. Do we even realize it? Do we realize the revelation that we have? Do we understand that we have the presence of the Lord in us and on us? Do we understand what we are anointed for? Do we understand that we move forward to face giants and to move mountains and to fill in valleys and to establish the kingdom, to see the kingdom of God established in the hearts of the people all around us? That's us who carries that. And it's not about our ability. It's about our availability. It's about our willingness. Do we come into the presence? Do we come into the word? Do we come into places of mission? Do we come into our workplaces knowing that all things are possible through him who gives me strength? You see, that's our encouragement. All things are possible. All things are possible through him who gives me strength. I just go for that today. Really go for that today. I just want to encourage you in that. Go for it. Let it happen. Be used by him. You're more than David. You are. Love you guys. Be blessed. Enjoy your day.